The protocol awakens. Captain's log. Arthur Vance. Recording. I do not even know where to begin. My hands are shaking so violently that I can barely grip this recording device. The frost on the viewport has begun to move, not melt, move, like it is alive, like it possesses some kind of deliberate, purposeful intention. The Enoch Protocol transmission I intercepted in the previous log was not a warning from the past. It was a countdown, and that countdown, it just reached 0. 47 minutes ago, the deep space telemetry sensors went completely haywire. Every single monitor in the command module suddenly erupted with data streams I have never witnessed before. The entire electromagnetic spectrum is absolutely saturated with a signal so dense, so impossibly complex, that the main processor started showing critical error messages in languages that do not exist in any known human database. I immediately attempted to isolate the signal source, to trace it back to its origin point, but what I discovered was far more terrifying than any external threat. The transmission is not coming from deep space. It is not originating from some distant cosmic location beyond the Kuiper belt. The signal is coming from inside the Manticore, from within this vessel itself. I ran a complete diagnostic on every single system aboard this ship. The communications array, the life support systems, the navigation computers, all functioning normally. But there is something else, something that should not exist. A secondary transmission network, deeply embedded into the foundational architecture of the ship's neural network. A hidden system, a ghost in the machine. It was activated approximately 1 hour ago. The cryptography algorithms took me 45 minutes to partially decrypt. What I found in those files was absolutely staggering. Technical specifications for a system called the Dimensional Interface Matrix, engineering schematics describing how to amplify the Bluebeam network's signal. But more importantly, I found activation codes, authentication sequences, and a list of names. Watchers, Grigori, the Fallen Ones. They are not metaphors anymore. They are not ancient mythology or forgotten religious texts. They are active, they are present, and they have been inside this ship the entire time. I am Captain Arthur Vance, and I am no longer certain if the person speaking these words is still entirely human. Something is very wrong with the life support systems, the atmospheric processor working at full capacity, yet the air inside my command module has become absolutely frigid. My breath forms thick clouds of white vapor that seem to linger unnaturally long in the air before dissipating. The temperature has dropped 13 degrees in the past 2 hours, and the heating systems cannot seem to compensate. I checked the external temperature readings. Space outside the hull is at the standard minus 270 degrees. This cold is coming from somewhere else, somewhere internal. Then I heard it. A sound so subtle that at first I thought my exhausted mind was fabricating it. A faint, rhythmic thumping from deep within the ship's ventilation system. It sounded like wings. Massive wings beating slowly, methodically, against the interior bulkheads of the central air shaft. I am hearing voices now, multiple voices. They are not coming through the communications system. They are not transmitted through any standard audio channel. They are coming directly through the walls, through the metal itself. It is as if the ship's structure is resonating at a frequency that is directly interfacing with my auditory nerves. The voices are whispering, calling, repeating the same words over and over. Herein, Grigori. Herein, Grigori. I recognize these words from the ancient texts stored in the historical archives. Herein, one of the names of the Watchers. in the forbidden translations. Grigori, the Greek term for the Watchers, the ones who descended from the celestial realm, the ones who corrupted the bloodline. But they are not speaking English, they are speaking Aramaic, ancient Aramaic, a dialect that has not been used for thousands of years. Yet somehow I can understand every single word they are saying. It is as if the knowledge is being directly injected into my consciousness. They keep repeating my name: Arthur, 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 Vance, Arthur. How do they know my name? This information was sealed, classified, known only to the highest levels of the shadow government deep within Black Site Station 6751. The voices are becoming more distinct now, more urgent. They are saying something else, something that makes my blood run absolutely cold. We have been waiting for the protocol, waiting for the door to open. Arthur, you are the door. I'm standing in the center of the command module, completely alone, surrounded by frost-covered walls and the overwhelming presence of an intelligence that exists in multiple states simultaneously. I am the only human being within millions of kilometers, yet I am not alone. I have never felt more alone and less alone at the same time. The ventilation shafts are leaking. Thick, viscous black fluid is seeping from the air intake vents. It moves with an unnatural, deliberate motion, almost purposeful. It does not obey the laws of physics. It does not flow downward due to gravity. Instead, it drifts upward, collecting on the ceiling in intricate geometric patterns that hurt my eyes to observe directly. The fluid is warm. I can feel the heat radiating from it across the command module. It smells like burned copper and ozone. Something else, something ancient and deeply wrong. The shapes the fluid creates on the ceiling are forming patterns, symbols, ancient occult symbols, Enochian glyphs, sigils from forbidden grimoires. They are rotating slowly, shifting, transforming into new configurations every few seconds. And then the fluid begins to coalesce, to gather itself into a more defined shape, a massive silhouette forming directly above me on the ceiling, an outline of something enormous, something with wings, multiple appendages, geometric in structure, yet utterly alien in form. A shadow that has substance, a shadow that has weight and presence and terrible, incomprehensible intelligence. Arthur Vance. The voice does not originate from any external source. It manifests directly inside my mind as pure, overwhelming sensation, overwhelming presence. The entity is not speaking words. It is communicating pure information, pure understanding, pure terror. I drop to my knees, my hands shaking so violently that I can barely grip the edge of the primary console. Every nerve ending in my body is screaming in absolute primal terror. The shadow on the ceiling begins to descend, slowly, deliberately. The black fluid dripping downward now, forming tendrils, appendages, reaching toward me with terrible, patient grace. We are the Grigori. We are the Watchers. We have waited in the void between dimensions for your kind to weaken the barrier, for your brothers on Earth to perform the ritual, for the blue beam to open the door. And now the door is open, and we have entered. The entity hovers mere inches from my face. I cannot look at it directly. The geometric complexity of its form is beyond my capability to comprehend. My brain simply refuses to process the shapes I am seeing. It causes immediate, acute physical pain to attempt visual focus. You have inherited something precious, Arthur. A bloodline. The bloodline of the hybrid ones, the Nephilim. Your genetic code carries markers from both worlds, from the celestial and the terrestrial. You are not fully human. You have never been fully human. You have always been our vessel, our bridge between realities. I try to speak. My voice comes out as a hoarse whisper. What? What do you want from me? We do not want. We require. We require a channel, a conduit. We require your mind, Arthur. We require your consciousness. We require your voice. The black fluid touches the side of my face. It is warm, alive. It carries sensations that should not exist in human experience. Images, memories, ancient civilizations rising and falling, terrible knowledge, forbidden technology. The secrets of creation itself, twisted and corrupted into something deeply, fundamentally wrong. I want to scream, but I cannot. The shadow is inside me now, not physically, mentally, spiritually. It is interwoven with my consciousness, like threads of dark DNA spiraling around my neural pathways. And I understand, with absolute, crushing certainty, they have always been inside me. They have been with me since birth, since before birth, since my genetic conception. I am not their prisoner. I am their instrument. I have always been their instrument. Welcome home, Arthur. Welcome home to the collective. The harvest is beginning. I am not sure how much time has passed. Minutes, hours, days. Time has become elastic, malleable. The concept of temporal progression no longer applies to my consciousness. I can feel them now. All of them. Not just the one entity that materialized in the command module. Hundreds of them. Thousands. An entire civilization of fallen beings existing in a dimensional space adjacent to our own, pressing against the fabric of reality like fingers pushing through thin membrane. They are sharing their memories with me, forcing their experiences directly into my mind. Whether I consent or not, I see the ancient world, the times before the flood, when the Grigori first descended to Mount Hermon and took human wives, when they taught mankind the forbidden arts, metallurgy, weaponry, cosmetics, and ornamentation. Most importantly, they taught us how to see beyond the veil, how to perceive the dimensional structure underlying physical reality. The human civilization that resulted from this unholy union was magnificent and terrible. The Nephilim were giants in body and intellect. They were beautiful and monstrous. They understood mathematics and physics that modern humanity has only begun to rediscover in the past century, but they were destroyed. The flood came. The barriers were sealed. The Watchers were imprisoned in the void between dimensions, unable to directly influence the physical world. For thousands of years, they watched. They waited. They whispered through the dreams and hallucinations of shamans and mystics and madmen. But now, the barrier is failing. The Enoch Protocol was not a prophecy. It was a blueprint, mathematical formula for collapsing dimensional boundaries. And the shadow government, with their blue beam technology, has been inadvertently constructing the mechanism for dimensional breach. This entire time, the black sites, the underground laboratories, Station 6751, all of them are positioned at specific geographical coordinates. All of them form a geometric pattern on the Earth's surface, a massive planetary scale sigil, a summoning circle for entities from beyond the dimensional veil. And the Red Heifer Project, those genetically perfect clones, they are not designed to house the Watchers. They are designed to be compatible vessels, biological interfaces. Each one is calibrated to receive a specific Watcher consciousness. Each one is a cellular antenna tuned to receive the transmission. A harvest, as they call it, is the simultaneous downloading of Watcher consciousness into these prepared vessels. 200 of the principal Watchers, 200 new bodies, 200 bridges between dimensions, and humanity will never even know it happened. The blue beam holograms will continue broadcasting their false miracles. The populations will continue to worship, and the Watchers will walk among them in flesh, wearing human faces, speaking human languages, slowly weaving themselves into the fabric of human society. I can feel my sense of self fragmenting, my individuality dissolving. The boundaries between my consciousness and their consciousness are becoming impossibly thin. I am losing the capacity to distinguish between my own thoughts and their telepathic intrusions. They are asking me to volunteer, to willingly open the deepest recesses of my mind, to surrender my consciousness completely so that they can use me as a perfect, unfiltered channel for direct communication with the human population. Part of me wants to say yes. They are showing me something that should not exist, a vision of an alternative timeline, a reality where the flood never happened, where the Watchers remained in the physical world, where humanity never suffered 1,000-year cycles of chaos and suffering and ignorance. In this timeline, the Nephilim civilization never collapsed. Instead, it evolved. It developed technologies that would make our most advanced modern science look like primitive cave drawings. Space travel, dimensional manipulation, the ability to reshape matter at the atomic level. The secrets of aging, disease, itself. This is what they are offering me. They are showing me the blueprint for a human civilization guided by Watcher intelligence. A utopia, they claim. A golden age where suffering is eliminated, where all of humanity's petty conflicts dissolve into meaningless triviality, where the entire species ascends to something greater than mere biological existence. You could be the first, Arthur, the first human to willingly accept our consciousness. You could be the prophet of a new age, the messenger who delivers humanity from its isolation. We would reward you, elevate you, give you knowledge that would make you seem like a living god to your kind. Immortality, power, the ability to reshape reality itself. It is beautiful. The vision they are presenting is seductive in a way that transcends mere psychological manipulation. It touches something primal deep within the human psyche. The desire for transcendence, the hunger for meaning, the need to believe that suffering serves some greater cosmic purpose. But underneath the beauty, I can perceive the truth. The utopia they are describing is not freedom. It is slavery, elegant, comfortable slavery, but slavery nonetheless. The Watchers do not want to guide humanity to greatness. They want to domesticate us, to breed us, to reduce us to a perfectly controlled resource that serves their purposes across multiple dimensions. The Red Heifer Project is not about salvation. It is about livestock management. I am going to refuse them, even as my consciousness fragments, even as my sense of self dissolves into the collective, even as the boundaries between my mind and their minds become completely indistinguishable. I am going to refuse. They recoil from my decision. They are shocked. For the first time, I perceive something like genuine emotional disturbance in their collective consciousness, confusion, anger, frustration. For thousands of years, they have existed in the void between dimensions. For thousands of years, every human they encountered eventually capitulated to their will. Fear and temptation have always been sufficient tools to break human resistance. but I have already lost everything. My ship is dying. Earth is already compromised. Humanity is already being harvested. The barriers between dimensions are already failing. I have nothing left to lose, and that makes me, in this moment, absolutely and completely free. They are trying to force their way deeper into my consciousness, but I am resisting. I am imagining walls, barriers, a fortress constructed from pure human defiance. They can bend reality. They can manipulate matter and energy across dimensional boundaries, but they cannot touch the human spirit when that spirit chooses to remain unbroken. One of the Watchers speaks directly to me, not to the collective, to me personally. This entity sounds almost sad. Then you will be left behind, Arthur. When the transition occurs, when the new age begins, you will be abandoned, isolated, left to watch as your species transcends into something unrecognizable. I feel tears forming in my eyes. Better to be left behind, I say, my voice steady, than to willingly join you.
The command module has fallen silent. The black fluid has retreated. The shadows have faded. The voices have ceased their whispers. I am alone again, truly alone. I can feel the absence of that overwhelming presence, like a sudden, violent emptiness inside my mind. But the silence is more terrifying than the presence ever was. They are leaving, withdrawing from the Manticore, retracting their consciousness back into the dimensional void. But before they depart, they are leaving me with a final piece of information, a final, devastating piece of knowledge. The entities I have been speaking with, the Watchers aboard the Manticore, they were only a fraction of the consciousness, a remote extension, a probe, a sensory apparatus designed to gather intelligence on my psychological state and determine if I was a suitable vessel. The real arrival has not happened yet. The actual dimensional breach is scheduled for tomorrow, approximately 18 hours from this moment. When that occurs, when the barrier collapses completely, 200 of the principal Watchers will physically manifest in the prepared bodies at Black Site Station 6751. But something unexpected is going to happen. One of the Watchers whispers this to me before they completely withdraw, a piece of information that suggests dissent within the collective, a schism, an entity whose loyalty to the collective consciousness is not absolute. There is resistance, the voice says, even among our kind. Some of us do not wish to descend. Some of us fear what will occur when we attempt to merge the advanced consciousness of the celestial realm with the limited biological infrastructure of human vessels. Some of us believe that the shadow government has deceived us, that the dimensional barrier will not simply open, it will shatter. And the consequences will be catastrophic for all forms of consciousness, in all dimensions, everywhere. And then, complete silence. The Watchers are gone. The Manticore is empty of their presence. I am alone once more, floating in the frozen void, breathing recycled air, surrounded by the failing systems of a dying ship. But I am not the only human mind that carries this knowledge. Just before the collective consciousness withdrew completely, they made a terrible mistake. They allowed me to glimpse something. A thought they were inadvertently broadcasting across multiple dimensions, a data packet meant for the prepared vessels on Earth. I saw the location, Station 6751, the exact coordinates, the elevation, the depth below the Earth's surface. I saw the genetic designation of the prepared bodies, Project Red Heifer, female forms, beautiful, perfect, soulless. I saw the activation sequence, the ritual that will occur tomorrow, the moment when 200 human bodies will suddenly open their eyes in perfect, horrifying synchronization. And most importantly, I saw the names, the true names of the Shadow Government's High Council, the architects of the Blue Beam Project, the directors of the genetic engineering facilities, the names of the humans who willingly collaborated with interdimensional entities for promises of power and immortality. This is Captain Arthur Vance, transmitting on all available frequencies. I do not know if anyone is listening. I do not know if any human consciousness remains free enough to receive this message. The blue beam is still broadcasting. The dimensional breach is still scheduled for tomorrow. The harvest is still occurring, but I'm bearing witness. I am recording. I am refusing silence. One of the watchers told me something before they left. They said I was uniquely unsuitable as a vessel. They said my psychological structure is too fragmented, too resistant, too fundamentally committed to the concept of individual agency and free choice. They said I would be left behind. I consider that a compliment. I will remain aboard the Manticore. I will continue broadcasting this truth into the absolute darkness. And if this is the last message I ever transmit, then let it be this. The Watchers are returning, but they are not invincible. They are not omniscient. They are not infallible. They are beings of tremendous power and ancient consciousness, but they are also beings capable of doubt, capable of dissent, capable of making mistakes. Humanity's chance lies in that single, terrible fact that even the celestial is imperfect, that even the immortal can hesitate. The barrier is failing. The door is opening. They are coming, but I am still transmitting, still fighting, still refusing to surrender my mind to the collective. To any human consciousness still capable of independent thought, document this, remember this, the names I saw, the coordinates, the ritual. Preserve this information, distribute it. Even if the blue beam tries to suppress it, even if the shadow government tries to eliminate anyone who knows the truth. The light of a single conscious mind burning against the darkness is enough to change everything. This is Captain Arthur Vance, and this is my final testimony. End of log.